Today I'm working on the neck and I'm about to cut out the channel for the truss rod. I'm going to show you how I cut my truss rod channels out. This is a bit of a difficult method, but it's because I don't have a suitable bearing for my router, and so I can't use a template on the top of it, unfortunately. So what I do is I use my homemade table router, and I've got a fence here, I've got the neck here, and what I've done so that I can run parallel along the fence is that I've glued a piece of wood here that's the same width as the neck down here, so that it will run parallel along the face of the fence. And that way hopefully the truss rod channel will be routed parallel along the middle of the neck. I use the marks that I've made on the side to line up with marks I've made on my router table showing the edges of the router bit. Now it's time to think about the controls on the guitar. Because of the hollow construction, I don't want to put a plate on the back, and so what I'm going to do is to cut out a plate on the front and mount the controls onto that, rather like a Telecaster construction. I've decided that I'm going to have a master volume, a switch and a tone knob. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a toggle switch or a blend knob, but that I can decide later. And so I've drawn where I want to put them on the top of the guitar, and I've drawn around it the shape of a piece that I can cut out. I was thinking of cutting out a piece of this and reusing it, but I'd need to have a jeweler's saw that I could get all the way around here, and I don't have one like that. So I think what I'm going to do is just to drill out this hole and then clean it up, and cut a piece of something else to go in there, probably just an offcut of this. I'll swap to a smaller bit. Okay, so I drew around this on a piece of babinga that I had spare from another build. I cut around it roughly with the bandsaw, and then I've used my belt and disc sander to cut it to shape, and that's pretty good. So here I've just made a couple of little posts which I've made to the exact height of the sides, and these are going to be glued here, and the control plate will screw into those posts. So yesterday I cut out the piece for the control cavity, and I've been thinking about what to do about sound holes potentially. And so what I've decided to do is just to make one that will mirror the cavity here. So the control cavity, or the control plate, is there, and what I'm going to do is flip that, draw around it and make a sound hole, not exactly the same shape as that, but sort of mirroring it. And also, in preparation for that, I've actually stained the inside of the guitar crimson red, so that you can see that, you'll be able to see that through the sound hole, and also when you take off the control cavity, just really as a little joke, I've stained this part as well. So I've worked on this now with a variety of different sizes of drill bits, a couple of Forstner bits and then some normal brad point bits, and I've got it to a rough shape, and then I'll chisel and sand that to the final shape. So far so good generally, although I do have a crack here that has developed, so I think I will have to fill that with a little bit of glue. What I'm doing here is trying to fit the neck into the body. I deliberately made the opening a little bit narrow so that I had to cut a little bit away, and now I'm doing that. I've just cut a bit away, and I've been shaving bits off the side. I'm checking my centre line. So far it's coming up to about the 16th fret, and I want that to move up about 4 more frets, so I need the opening a tiny bit wider. That's probably only about another millimetre or so. Right, so that's the body prepared for the neck to be glued in, but there's still work to be done on the neck before it's ready to be glued into the body. Now I'm carving the neck. I'm not going to show you the whole process. What I've done so far is I used my angle grinder just to quickly get off the first faces here on either side, and the rest of it I'm going to do with a Shinto rasp, because the angle grinder goes pretty quickly, and so for the other ones it would be easy to make a mistake and just go a little bit too far. So I'll do them a bit more slowly with the Shinto rasp. First of all, I need to mark them out. I'm happy to mark the lines by hand because they're only a guide. The final shaping of the neck is done by feel, so the lines are only an approximation. So I've more or less finished carving the neck. I still have a couple of little bits to sort out in the corners, but generally that's fine. And so now I've turned back to the body. With my spindle sander I've sanded all around the edge, and in particular in the cutaways, which are going to be difficult to sand when I've glued this in. So I'm going to sand those particularly now to probably up to 400, so that I don't have to sand them anymore afterwards. And I'm just generally sanding around the rest of the body, and with the spindle sander I've sanded away most of the little imperfections there already. Now we arrive at an important part of the build where I'm going to glue the neck into the body. I found that I had carved the neck a little bit too far, so I will afterwards have to carve into this a bit to smooth it all out, but I think that will be okay. And what I've done actually is I've sanded the cutaway a bit more with the spindle sander to deepen this a bit, and so to reduce the amount of carving that I'll need to do around the heel. Okay, the centre line looks alright, it's in the right position, so now I'll put that away and leave that for a few hours.